There we are. Welcome everyone. I'm Vanessa. I'm from Synthosys. We have this webinar based on our campaign. It's called Cut the Fluff. I will speak a little bit more in the end of the presentation. I'm very happy to see all of you here. I may be distracted a little bit because I'm alone today. So if someone coming, I need to let them in. So if I just froze for a second, maybe it's for that. Anyway, so we will start this conversation together. Feel free to be on camera, not be on camera, as you feel like better. Whenever you have any question, you can drop something in the chat or raise your hands and just ask the questions, whatever you prefer. The session is recorded, but if you like to speak up, for example, and ask a question instead of write, but you don't want to be featured in video or voice, just let us know so I can cut that part, maybe write down the questions. So for everyone who will listen to the video later, we'll see it. So we can start. If there is no question, we can go ahead. So today we speak about how to navigate patriarchy with authenticity. And before to start, we will look a little bit about the data, how the situation are, and then we will dive deep a little bit on the understanding. Good morning, Indira. I was just saying that the sessions is recorded. So if you don't want to be featured in the video, just let me know. I can cut whatever part you can be seen in the video, so you will not be featured like in YouTube or whatsoever. So just let me know. You can ask any question, any moment, whenever you want. There is not a problem. So I will try to be very concise and understand like to the point. If you have any questions, just stop me, drop something in the chat. It's okay. So just to understand a little bit the reality. So we can see that most of the company, they offer bias training, allyship programs, and a lot of bunch of program in companies and corporates to try to help to break the glass ceiling. But also, just need to understand how to, but not all these projects make a difference actually, and on how women are feeling in the workplace or how they can arrive in higher position. The outcome of these projects, when we measured, it's not always an improvement. For instance, recent research in 2024, they point out that we passed from 33% in 2019 of women able to recognize microaggressions against other women to 28% in 2024. So actually the capacity to understand this problem is diminished. Oh, Indira cannot see the presentation slides. Everyone can see it?
It says there was a problem displaying the content.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Emma's suggesting I come back in and I'll look at whether there's anything here that's a different setting.
Yeah.
Because what platform are you using, Vanessa?
Team. Microsoft
Oh, it's Teams. Teams
yeah.
has been acting up for weeks. Okay, if I disappear, I'll try to come back in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Sorry for that.
Don't worry. So if we can go on a little bit, we can see that the gap between women and men in higher position is still there. Even though we see that we reached the objective to arrive as 40% of women in the boardroom, we're actually around 42% of women in the boardroom in the FTSE 350 before the time, but we still are 50% in executive positions, so CEO, CFO, and so on. We are only 50%. That means there are more Dave than women in such roles. And there is a bunch of things that this research are not taking in consideration. For instance, in a research in 2020, so I don't know, there is no data for 2024, say that there is a phenomenon called overboarding. So that means a woman is counting more than one because it's part of different boarding position. And this is a phenomenon that can be interested on even men, of course. But when we measure whatever, how many women are present in higher level, that can be misleading, and can be misleading even for representation of diversity and other culture in such a level. Furthermore, in a research on 2020-22 of Forbes, they say that nearly 60% of the workforce is made by women, but only 35% are part of the senior leadership. Don't speaking about the salary gap that is still present and all the difficulties that women going through while working. For example, 50% of women are the primary taker for children and have children responsibility, and the percentage is increased compared to the year before, that was 46%. Women report 50% of higher stress before the previous year. Not speaking about the health challenge of being a woman, that can be related to menstruation, menopause, and fertility on the top of every other health challenge. And also 60% of the women are in charge of adult caregiver within their family or the network. And this is increase of from 44%, that was the percentage in 2023. So it doesn't look that every level the situation is better for women. And then we can speak about something that is called the Queen Bee effect. I put the picture of Giorgia Meloni, the Prime Minister in Italy, because I'm Italian. So I'm quite focused about what's going on there, even if I'm living here in the UK. But what we see that even after the first time a woman as a Prime Minister in Italy, they implemented, and she advocated for that, measure and politics that actually is not helping for women, like, for example, more strict requirement to access childcare and so on and so on. So pushing more women outside the work market, basically. So why having more female leaders is not benefiting women as expected? So why we have to break the glass ceiling all the time, alone, every time? Why we cannot break it once and for all? But the short answer is that there is ineffective and superficial efforts. Most of the programs implemented in the workplaces are ticking boxes, basically, or they try to achieve something without having a big understanding on the underlying issue, so the root cause that maintain this situation. Or we celebrate minor achievement, like, for example, we are popping champagne because we have more than 30% of women in the boardroom before the time we set up to arrive to that goal. but we are not looking to more significant problems like major stress in women, difficulties in dealing with house chore, childcare, and adult care while working, and also the pay gap difficulties or the fact that there is not enough executive women in higher position in big companies. So just because I always forget about who we are Synthosys. The company, it's founded by me and my husband. He has an engineering background, but he does coach since there wasn't an award for that. And so lately we just ditch our job, go fully in with Synthosys because we want to help to change the workplace situations. As a psychologist myself, I see a lot of people in my room with anxiety, depression, low self-esteem. Sometimes, most of the time, there are women because of the environment that they are in the workplace, not before they're somehow faulty in some way, but because most of the issue, like burnout and so on, that we experience as person are related to root cause in our environment and our culture. So it's what we want is to make people understand and address the root causes they make us ill. And the understanding, it can be a different level, is whatever is under the surface, always almost unconscious bias, and it can be involved personal, group, or system, and we want to tackle all of them. For instance, what can be the bias that work on a personal level? Implicit bias, self-fulfilling prophecy, and self-limiting beliefs are what stop us to reach what we can be, our maximum, our best, because we don't believe we can reach that. Like, for example, about self-fulfilling prophecy, for me, that's for sure. In Italy, we grew up in a culture when we tell us as young children that girls are not good in math, while boys are not good in languages, for example. And we grow up with these prophecies, self-fulfilling prophecy, and we are not as good in tech companies, for example, like there is a minority of women in tech or in ST. And this is proved to be false. Like, for example, even in the 70s, this research are going on since a long time now. They did some research with the young students, give them an essay and label as math, when you can see the performance of girls and boys are quite different. So boys excel while the performance of women are quite lower. But when we give the same essay to the same similar population of young students without labeling with math, we can see that the performance are equal. So this is how we stop ourselves in achieve what we can achieve and dream what we can dream, basically. On a group level, these kind of bias, they play in a different way. For example, we can see role incongruity. When you are a leader, you are asked to act with assertivity. But when you're a woman and you're assertive, then you are labeled as aggressive. So you are in an impossible role when you're asked to do something, and when you do something, you are highly criticized because you did it. We always get it wrong, basically. And then there is a lot of peer judgment between women. I don't know if this happened to you, but most of the women growing up, for example, they want to be accepted by the male peer more than the woman peer. They're more likely to judge themselves and control themselves about how they dress, how they go out with, or how their behavior are it. So the research proves actually that women are more judgmental between themselves that men towards women, for example. And then there is something that is called stereotype threats. So that means, for example, if you grow up in a culture or in a family environment when there is this bias that there is no bias about, for example, women driving bad or good, let's say. So you're a good driver, maybe you're a pilot or whatsoever, but you believe in your skill and you're very well on it. But when you are in another group that have these stereotypes about women are not good in driving, even if the stereotypes is not explicit, your performance, they would be lower when you are exposed to these kind of groups. So even if you work on yourself and your environment, when you are in an environment that is against you somehow, your performance drop. And then there is the systemic level. So whatever the system have in place that make for you more difficult to achieve some goals. Like, for example, motherhood is a powerful trigger, mostly negative for women in a workplace. So whenever you are a mother, you became unreliable, not suitable for job, you cannot be trusted, and you are not as much as involved as before, even if it's not true whatsoever. While a man is fatherhood change the stereotypes towards men, so they earn more when they become a father. They're seen more reliable and trustable, even if they don't care whatsoever about their children. So all these stereotypes are very powerful. And not speaking about all the policy that usually when you have a child, a family needs to decide who can be the primary carer, and usually the choice is on the mother. Even, for example, you are a family that doesn't believe that the stereotypes that the mother is the only one able to care for a child, but you are obliged to, because salaries-wise, for this salary gap, it's more convenient that the mother will stay at home, at least for the first 2-3 years, to deal with the family economics. So in the light of this understanding how these bias work unconsciously and shape our behavior and attitude, we can have a little more understanding about the queen bee effect. So sorry for the words, but it's not just she's a bitch. It's about understand the person and all the bias that she is under. Like, for example, usually older women are in higher position. That means they grow up in a more patriarchy and conservative society than us, for example, younger people. So they may have a lot of personal bias that stop them to see the full potential in themselves or in other women. It means also that they are in environment dominated by men. So if to arrive to a certain position, they need to kind of bend to the culture portrayed by men and kind of shape themselves as more manly to be able to reach that kind of seniority. Plus all the systemic level. So probably even if it's a woman, it's very conscious about their own bias, the group bias, but she's not be able alone to fight and change the policy and the system in their company. So what we can do to break the ceiling once and for all? It's not a simple way, it's not a simple 7-step to apply tomorrow and everything will be fixed. It's something more subtle. It's something that we need to face day after day within ourselves and our society. So, for instance, what I always say, start from yourself. So have coaching, mental health like therapy, mental fitness, deconstructive program, read about feminism, read about all the inequality that are going on in this world. This will help you to understand and to change your own lens. Then open up about the group, involve everyone is around you, your family, your friends, your husband, your boyfriend, your brother, your father. Speak about it with everyone around you in your workplace, if it's safe if it's safe to do, of course. And then help to challenge the system, the work culture, the policy that are in places in your workplace. It's a slow process, but we need to start somewhere. Like, for example, in Norway, they introduced, I think around 20 years ago, a kind of equality, then they do better and better, in paternity and maternity leave. So now, at the beginning, when a father used to take paternity leave more often, like for a longer period, they were seen as, why you're doing this? It's kind of make you feel unreliable as an employee. But now the culture is changed at the point that if a father doesn't take paternity leave, they will question their integrity as a worker. So if someone that is not willing to take time in a fragile moment of a family life, like it is as having a baby, and care for your wife and your baby or your husband as much, how we can trust you to take care of your employee and your people. And this is how deeply the culture change by implements different rules and work day after day in all these different levels, from individual, group, and systematic level. And I want to close with this sentence that I hope most of you recognize, that is, the personal is political. It is come from the first wave of feminism, because it's still powerful and it's still so much needed. So whatever you are going through, whatever you're male, female, part of diversity or minority, it's not you alone suffering. It's more likely suffering because part of a system that make you not able to deal with some obstacle. So share about it, create safe space that we can share and speak about whatever is going on in our life. It will make more possible to change the system that we are in it right now, especially in this challenge time now, with a lot of war and hate spread all over around. So to recap, we have just a look about the reality, what are the interventions that are taking, that are going on, the outcome that is not so valuable as we thought or we wish, the gap that we still see in our society, the understanding where the gap comes from and the difficulties to make in place intervention that are not only ticking box, and the effectiveness that some intervention that address root causes can actually bring a real change in our workplace and in our society. So just a little bit about how we can help you. This seminar is part of the Cut the Fluff campaign. It's a campaign that we started to spread recently. In the last year, we are working in Synthosys. We see that companies are less and less willing to spend money on their people and on projects, mostly because they don't see any a real change, and then because a difficult economic situation we're in recently. But we see that people want to invest in themselves, want to invest in them, in their authenticity. So we offer this kind of seminar. We try to be as reliable as we can, more or less every Friday. I will be alternating between me and my husband and different topics. So if you have any suggestions, feel free to do so. We have also a very affordable workshop on Fridays. One is about women in leadership supervision. So it's about to create a safe place to understand all the challenges that women face in a leadership position and have a bit better understanding on the root cause of what's going on and the group dynamics that you are in, and to find a new strategy to deal with this problem. And this is led by me, while my husband, that is a coach model, coach, he has a rogue coaching model. It's for a CPD for the ICF. It's very interesting. We see during the presentation, we kind of go through the rogue, and it's very powerful. But you can also be used as a leader, so it's something that you can take in consideration for that. We also have discount on our assessment. One is the 360 leadership assessment. Is made in a way you can understand the results, so you can go through by yourself and then decide if you really need a coach for that or not. But everything is explained, and you have a rogue questions to go through to challenge yourself by your own. So to cut the cost and give you a great experience, we have these services. We have also the 4C culture and dynamic assessment that we do for any intervention we do in organization, because it pinpoints whatever is going on, and we want to tackle the problems that we see and we can measure, and not just do something because it's nice or sounds great, but then give you any results that you really want. And also we have our leadership journey, that is our leadership course accredited by the Institute of Leadership. We have some questions. Apologies. Yeah, thank you, Eva, to be here today. So for the next appointment, we have online on next Friday. Tarek will have the webinar about burnout, rethinking burnout with the rogue approach. We will be live in London for the Leadership Live. We actually cannot speak me and Tarek. And also on the 4th of July, if you are Derby based or in the Derbyshire, we will be a pop-up event in the Insomnia Cafe. It will be a leadership compass, so a taste of our leadership course if you want to be there. And also we very, very appreciate if you can have a picture of this QR code. Is a small questionnaire to understand how the presentation went, what was your expectation, what you want to see, and so on, because we believe that with feedback we can improve ourselves and our services and make more targets for you and make something that is really helpful. So thank you for that. I just leave you with this quote that we love it. Because like often we are an ant marching north on the back of an elephant heading south. So we don't want to be the ant that is our conscious mind, because the elephant is the unconscious mind is what is really drive us. And research said that the majority of your decisions are taken by your brain before you are aware of. So your unconscious is what you drive your behavior or attitude in everyday life, and you need to work on it if you want to align your ant and your elephant together. So if there any question whatsoever, someone that want to ask anything, I'm open. I know we are just in time, the 45 minutes, so I don't want to take you if you don't want, but if you have any question, please do it. If you want to do later, reach me out whenever you want. This is our quote code, so you can reach on LinkedIn, Instagram and Facebook. We don't really there, but write us an email, call us, whatever you feel. And any question, happy to hear your voice. In my work, we have a message. Unfortunately, in my working experience, women see other women as threats and bully women more than men. Certainly, the women who have been in the management. Why do you think the women behave in this? So, if I can come back a little bit on the slides, if you can see, women are not fighting, let's say, or competing to reach these positions. We are fighting and competing to this position. So we are competing towards each other. We are not competing with the men because the space of the man is still untouchable. And this is a big problem because it's made us fight against each other and not be as collaborative as men are, because it's their environment, they are there since ever, they shape the work environment at their willing, basically. And when the women start to be in the workplace and reach higher position, we fight with our nail and our teeth, basically, and we don't want to give up what we earn, and we see another woman taking our space, not the man's space. That's why this is one of the why, with all the things that we see in the presentation today, women are more mean towards other women than other men. There is someone else that is still writing. There we are. Thank you, Vanessa. Really interesting. I need to thank you for being here, Debs. Yeah, thank you Agi for your testimony. So she said that in her experience, the change started with herself, be it at work or outside. Support all others as you wish to be supported. This is very helpful. Thank you for that. Someone is writing again. Thank you, Angela. Yeah, if there is no other questions, we can close here. I just put again a little bit the QR code. If you want to give some feedback, it's very, very, very appreciated. And hope to see you next Friday and to be around. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.